Isla Wright just might be the best supportive hunter in solo leveling Arise due to her having 7 different buffs that she can apply to your team. But before we get onto all of that, let's talk about all of Isla's best artifacts, and by far the 8 set effect of Burning Blessing is going to be what you want to use, simply because of the fact that you can increase your whole team's damage by 20%, as well as also provide healing to your whole team. But if you don't quite have Burning Blessing artifacts, but you do have Angel and White artifacts, then you definitely can use this set as well, because the 2 set effects will increase your HP, which isn't very useful as Isla is a defense scaler, but with the 4 set effect bonus, Isla can definitely benefit from it really heavily due to increasing your own healing by 8%, and also the fact that you can then increase the damage of the team member with the highest total power on your team by 8%. And then for accessories, the only set I would really recommend, of course, outside of the Burning Blessing, is going to be Sylph's Blessing, which is going to be really good in increasing all of your teammates' elemental weakness damage by up to 15%, assuming you are going to run it on its 4 set effect, which you definitely should do. And this will of course be amazing because all of your Dark team members that you're going to run with Isla will get a ton of damage from this. But then for all of Isla's main stats on all of these pieces, for her helmet, you want to go for additional defense or defense percent. The same will also apply to the body armor, as you'll always be able to get additional defense or defense percent. The gloves doesn't really matter, so additional attack or attack percent doesn't really matter which one you go for. Then for Isla's boots, pretty much defense percent is going to be your best choice, as it will help increase your healing, your damage, and also your shield strength as well. Then for your accessory main stats, the necklace doesn't really matter which one you go for out of additional HP and HP percent. For the bracelet, definitely you'll want to go for dark damage percent. And then the final important one is going to be the ring, which again you'll want additional defense or defense percent. And as always, the earrings will give you additional mana points. And then for Isla's substats, these are really important that you do get the right ones. And overall, the top 3 main stats you'll want to go for are going to be your additional defense and defense percent, as well as also damage increase, which is going to be a very important part of her kit. And this is because one of the buffs that she does apply through her ultimate is called Death, which will increase the damage increase stat of your entire team equal to 6% of Isla Wright's damage increase stat, which is why you'll definitely want to make sure you have as much of that as you possibly can. But then of course all of these other substats will be very good as well. So moving on, we have all of Isla's best cores, and for the mind piece, without a doubt the Nameless Demon's Deception is going to be your best choice, because when you use your ultimate, you can increase all of your basic skills critical hit damage by 20% for 8 seconds, which will be very beneficial. For the body piece, the Ancient Wraith's right hand as well as the Nameless Demon's Horn are going to both be really good options because they can give you damage reduction and also a shield, so it doesn't really matter which one you go for. And then finally for the spirit piece, you'll want to go for the Nameless Demon's Magisphere. This will help you recover your mana points by equal to 5% of your max mana whenever you use your ultimate, which will make all 3 of those cores the best options for you to go for. And then as always, all of the substats that are really good on your artifacts are going to be really good on her cores as well, but just make sure you try and get as much damage increase as you possibly can. So then on to Isla's best weapons, and her own exclusive weapon is going to be a must-have, and especially at A5. But at A0, you'll be able to increase your own defense by 0.5%, and then also the entire team's defense will increase by 0.5% for every Dark Elemental Hunter that you have on your team. And then the best part of its passive is the fact that you can then decrease Isla Wright's ultimate skill cooldown by 4 seconds, which when at A5 you can increase that to 20 seconds, which means Isla's ultimate will have a 25-second cooldown. But the reason why it is going to be so important that you do have her weapon max dupe is going to be because normally a regular hunter ultimate skill will be on a 45-second cooldown, but once you then decrease that by 20 seconds, it will then be on a 25-second cooldown, which means when you're using Burning Blessing on her, you can technically have a 100% uptime on the Burning Blessing buff, because the Burning Blessing buff does also have a cooldown of 25 seconds, which means you can have 100% uptime on the buff. So then up next, we have all of Isla's best skills for you to level up, and overall, just like a lot of the healers in the game, it doesn't necessarily matter too much which skills you level up, as Isla's main function is to buff your teammates as much as possible. So when you're increasing the skill, you're not really affecting the buffs that she does apply and only her damage, which I guess is kind of why it's not really too important to level up her correct skills. But if I did have to say some skills that you should definitely level up, 100% her ultimate skill, Arcane of the World, is going to be your best skill for you to level up, simply because of how spammable it can be, and it is also going to be your main source of damage with her. And then also her basic attacks, Arcana, and then also her core attack, Horoscope, are also very important, because on her A0 passive, when you use your stage 3 basic attack, you'll be able to instantly charge your power gauge by 100%, which will overall mean that you're going to use these quite a lot, so increase increasing their damage can be beneficial. And the same will also apply to her core attack horoscope, because her core attack is going to be the main way that you do apply 3 of her different buffs, which are Strength, the Magician, and also Wheel of Fortune. Although I have just realized that when you level up Cosmic Emergence for her, you can actually increase the amount of healing that it does, which will make her first basic skill a really valuable skill for you to level up as well. So then before we get onto all of her best teams, let's talk about all of her best advancements. And overall, if you do plan on using Isla in your teams or just in general, then 100% I would recommend that you do get her A1 at least, because when the user uses Death Nova, you can charge the power gauge of the second character on your team by 60%, and then you can also decrease the cooldown of their ultimate skill by 20 seconds, and will also allow you to enhance the tower effect, which will basically just double the amount of dark damage increase that you can get. And the only downside of this is the fact that the power gauge increase just won't work with Charlotte at all, because Charlotte's ultimate does charge in a completely unique way. However, it will benefit other dark DPSs like Silvermane Baekhyunho, Lim Tae-gyu, or even Harper. But if you want to go that extra mile, A3 I think is where most players should probably end up stopping, because when you use Horoscope or Crossing Stars, which is just going to be her support skill, you can actually activate all of her core attack buffs, being Strength, the Magician, and Wheel of Fortune, which will be insanely good because normally it's completely random which one of these 3 buffs you're going to apply when you do use your core attack. So getting her to A3 will just bring you a ton of consistency, which then finally brings me onto all of the best teams that you can build for Isla Wright. And overall, the 2 most common characters that are going to be used with Isla are going to be Charlotte as well as also Harper, because pretty much all of Charlotte's damage does come from her ultimate skill. So when you combine that with Isla's death buff, which does also increase your Dark Elemental Hunter's ultimate damage, that will be really, really good. And the same also does apply to Harper, who can increase the amount of ultimate skill damage that your enemies will take by up to 12%, whilst also providing a ton of break damage. But the only downside of using Charlotte especially is going to be the fact that you can't really benefit her with Isla's A1 buff of charging the power gauge and also decreasing ultimate skill cooldown. So if you do have Isla A1 and you do want your main DPS to benefit from the cooldown reduction and the ult charge, then I would recommend that you go for Silvermane Baekhyunho, or even especially Lim Tae-gyu, because just like Charlotte, Lim Tae-gyu's damage pretty much mainly does rely on his sniper mode buff, which is applied through his ultimate. So the more you can get that, the more you can deal a lot of damage, which would be very beneficial. But you do need to make sure your main DPS is in the second slot on your team, so your main DPS can actually benefit from it. Which will then leave us with all of the best shadows for this team, and without a doubt, the best authority leader for you is going to be Kaizul, because Kaizul does increase all of your team's ultimate skill damage by up to 8%, I believe. So then because the Dark team is really about just spamming a ton of ultimates, Kaizul will be very, very good. Which will then leave Serbi, because obviously he's Serbi, and the combustion debuff, as always, is just way too good not to use in every single team. And then of course Iron as well is going to be fantastic, because Iron can apply the defense decrease through his basic skill Charge Iron, which will allow your Dark team to apply a debuff that it normally couldn't. So there you have it. I genuinely think Isla Wright might be the best support hunter in the game, just due to literally everything she has, because it really does feel like she can do literally anything. But overall, if you did enjoy this video or you found it just useful in general, then be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to click the link down below to support me as a creator, because it does help so much. But as always, I will see you all in the next video. Peace!